Shorty Mona Lisa, I'ma play her like I'm violent. I feel like the island, we gon' take her to the island.
Venue and date change are regular season games against the Chicago Sky. So there's been some venue changes, which is a humongous deal. You know, they're going to bigger venues because more people are buying tickets, right? They're going to play the Chicago Sky United Center now. So you see June 7th and July 27th, United Center. Both games are going to be sold out. And the Fever said our regular season games against the Chicago Sky are moving to United Center. Game originally scheduled for July 26th will now be played on July 27th. That's crazy. Both of these games are going to sell out. They're both going to be, you know, pretty big games. And they both got decent teams. I think the Fever win both, in my opinion. I think one of the games will be a blowout. And then one of the games would be like really, you know what I'm saying? Like competitive games, similar to last year. A big one people have been talking about though, as far as venue changes. Our regular season games on May 28th, September 7th at Washington Mystics are moving to CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore. This venue change was a crazy one because of what the lady from Washington said. You know, a lot of people were bringing that up. And this is a wild venue change. You don't remember. This lady, she basically was saying the whole WNBA should have been on the Time cover or something like that. So
suggested that the WNBA as a whole should have been on the cover of Time magazine instead of just Caitlin Clark, who graced the cover last week, which is probably some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard. And that's no disrespect to the ladies in the league. But the Twitter community was quick to remind Shelley that a majority of their success as far as attendance came from the Caitlin Clark effect. Over 31% of the Mystics' entire attendance was in 2 games the Caitlin team played against the Mystics. The Sparks, the Aces, the Mystics, the Dream all moved games when Fever came in town because of the attention that Caitlin and her teammates have drawn that last season. Fever's jersey sales was up 1,000% and attendance was up 250%.
crazy.
And they had the largest attendance on average per year, just over 17,000 per game. Let me say this, Caitlin Clark deserves all the flowers. I think she took a lot of shit and a lot of skeptics coming into the league, as she should. Like, she had to really prove herself. Missed out on the Olympic opportunity and really had a lot of hard knocks early on in the season where she was getting beat up and her teammates were just watching her. I think the camaraderie in that locker room grew and that team started playing together and made the playoffs. Made a nice little run. Had a solid season. In the article, the Time article, Caitlin obviously accepted the honor, but also was quick to pay homage to the Black women of the W's past who helped pave the way for herself today. So Caitlin is someone who has, if you look at it, done everything you're supposed to do and has been criticized along every step of the way. The magnitude of who she is and what she's brought, enjoy the ride and take advantage of the ride and do everything you can do to show the fan base why they should have been watching before Caitlin came along.
So that was that. You know, now they got the venue change. That game's gonna be, I think that game's gonna be lit too. Fever probably get that one too. I ain't gonna lie. And then another thing for they're playing in Iowa. That game sold out too, bro. Like that got 15,000 people sold out, and it sold out in 40 minutes or some shit like that. Washington had his highest single game attendance in WNBA since the 90s because DC people show up. They purposely capped the Chicago Sky games at 10K people, Angel Reese hometown. So Angel Reese won't have 20K in attendance. This doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck would they cap more money? Then someone said, so Indiana playing in Baltimore where Angel Reese is from, but Chicago playing in Virginia. Okay, the league never fails to waste a promo opportunity. I don't think that's I think there's a little more to that. Like, I don't think that's the problem. I do think people would show up for Angel Reese. I do think people would show up for Angel Reese, but I think that comes down to the venue, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they know, I understand it's Angel Reese hometown, but that doesn't guarantee it'll be sold out. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if it's based on the venue and what they decide, maybe they want something that's guaranteed, and they're also going based off the numbers from last year. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure why that happened. I would assume that, you know, the tickets would be damn near sold out because that's where Angel Reese is from. But I don't know if that's necessarily the reasoning. So I'm not too sure on that, you know, to be honest. But that is pretty interesting. And another thing, I feel like the people know, like, the Fever top 3 team going into this season. They might be top 2 now, but they played on Minnesota last year. I'm gonna play this.
There's also a lot of movement going on in the WNBA. There was so much movement during free agency, and you guys are all at Unrivaled while all this movement is happening. And I know, like, the Lynx did not have as much activity as everyone else, but just what is your reaction to all the movement in the WNBA this free agency season?
I mean, I think it's exciting. I mean, anytime you seeing all of these players that you're used to seeing in certain jerseys about to be in a different environment with a different organization, like that's gonna be crazy, man. I thought AT about to be in Phoenix. That was crazy for me because I'm like, dang, okay, DB going to Indy, Natasha Howard going to Indy. Like Indy about to be stacked. Like Indy about to be looking good. I'm
Super
not
team?
gonna lie, like Indy about to be a little scary. Like we ain't scared, but they gonna be a little scary for other people.
Caitlin some dogs around her.
They not playing.
They're not playing around. They gave her some more shooters. Natasha Howard, I think, was their best signing. I think people forgot what type of player she was while she's been in Dallas. She's a great defensive player. She can go out and give you 30. She's a great screener, which is going to be very beneficial to Caitlin.
For Caitlin, yeah.
DeWanna Bonner, just having that veteran presence and energy, like she can go make big time buckets for you. Sophie Cunningham, just her energy alone. I'm excited to see her back at her natural position, which is the 3. She's actually been playing the 4 for quite some time in Phoenix, but she's been doing a good job considering that's not her natural position. And then, of course, re-signing Kelsey Mitchell. I remember saying last year before the season even started that they're going to go as Kelsey Mitchell goes. You know, she started the season hurt and came back. And after All-Star break, her and Caitlin found this balance and this cadence that made them very hard to guard, which is why they were able to make the playoffs. So I'm excited to watch them. I'm actually also excited to play against them. I think all the noise from last year, obviously, it's going to be there, but you add a ton of veterans that supposedly were hating on the rookies, but all wanted to go play with her. Like, they wasn't hating. They was pissed that we have to chase her around all the time. But when you get the opportunity to play next to a player like that, you're going to go. So I'm excited for them. I'm really excited for Kelsey Mitchell. She has been with that Fever organization since 2018 when we got drafted together, and she's been through the good and the bad and the ugly. So I'm happy that the way they welcomed her in with her re-signing, with the like little parade inside the arena, the announcements, the Pacers showed love. Like that's what Kelsey Mitchell deserves, and I'm really glad that they were able to do that for her too.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch them. And Caitlin, I think people underrate because of all of the noise about everything else, how good her rookie year was. Like it was incredible.
It was
so
amazing.
for them, I think Indiana, but it's not only people are also forgetting Aliyah. Like they have put a lot into drafting really good young talent.
Like I said, she's not lying. They added some pieces. They added some real pieces.
Indiana, lots of new free agents. I'm curious for you, in your standpoint, somebody that did not have to decide where to go and you're still under contract. What kinds of conversations do you have with members of the front office during the off season? Is it normal to just kind of like not do a whole lot of talking because you're doing your own thing, or are you kind of in the loop sometimes for those kinds of conversations?
Yeah, definitely in the loop. I think the front office did a great job of including us with who they were looking at, how they thought they would fit with us, which I think is always super important because when you have a squad like we do, you want to continue to make sure like, oh, I definitely think they would be a good fit, or I think they would be a great fit. Maybe not so much. But I mean, everyone that the front office brought and talked about, I mean, I was super excited about, and I think we see that now with everyone that we've signed. I'm super excited for what's to come with the Fever squad because I definitely think it's going to be fun.
Why would she not be in the loop? Like, what in the world? You think I saw some people sent me this Nike thing. He finally did a campaign. They're finally doing a campaign for Caitlin, which is dope. They had a commercial for her or an ad they put on. I saw it on Instagram. They did it like an ad. It's pretty cool. And they had this little exclusive interview. I'm gonna play this.
So in your career, you got to match up against other Nike hoopers. Do you have a favorite matchup?
You're gonna get me in trouble. Honestly, like I'll just say DT because she's such an icon in our sport and has been in the game for so long. You know, getting to share the court with her was pretty fun, and you just see her competitive spirit. Even though you're not on her team, like you can just feel it as a competitor. I think I've hated losing even before I can remember. When I was growing up, all I did was cry when I lost. But it upset my parents a lot. My dad was my first coach, so he had to deal with me crying. So the more I won, the less crying there was. From a very young age, because no matter what I did, whether I was playing a sport or playing a board game or was at school, like I wanted to win. I feel like that was always my mindset, and that hasn't really changed. Fortnite. I used to play video games a good amount in college with my friends, especially over Christmas break when you just have basketball and you're the only people on campus. We'd go to practice, we'd go eat, and then we'd just game all day. But that's kind of stopped ever since I moved out of Iowa City and I moved to Indianapolis. I haven't been playing the game as much, but I'm getting back on the grind.
Is that like a farm or barn? I don't know what the concept was, but I think people had an issue with the hoop being on the thing.
Basketball has taught me a lot, but one lesson stands out. It's not about where you're from. It's where you shoot from.
Definitely looking forward to that shoe release and the season. I'm really excited for the W to come back. So it should be pretty cool. But that's what's going on there. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section. As always, it's your boy.